here I am with Peter Harken, with the Harken guy, the owner and the founder of the Harken equipment that is pretty much found on, I don't know, pretty much every boat that it's out there.
Yeah, been there a long time, but we're still above the grass, you know?
Yeah.
The grass is still green when you look down. It's not brown yet. So,
how did you get into this business?
well, my father, I had a very natural childhood. I was born in Indonesia, raised in the Philippines, and I end up in Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
How's that natural?
Yeah, that's a normal childhood, right? Because my father was Dutch and my mother was Swedish, you know, and our Dutch side of the family were into sailing, and my grandfather had a fleet of ships in Holland that traded between South America and Holland. So, you know, the Second World War, the Germans got that, and my father was in a prison camp in Indonesia with the Japanese, and so, etc. But anyway, after the war, we went out back to the Philippines to do reconstruction and so on. And my father was always into sailing, and that's where we sort of started as kids. And we really liked it, you know, a lot. And then when I went to the University of Wisconsin, they had a very big sailing club because it's on two big lakes there. And I ended up spending most of my academic career screwing around sailing instead of studying, you know.
Which boats?
These were university college training boats, single-handed, just cat-rigged boats, you know, very tough boats because they had to be able to take a lot of punishment. And then, and I ended up being very involved in the club, and then I was Commodore of the club, so, and I had to fix a lot of things, you know, and I had been working with a medical electronic company out on the side to earn money, and I learned how to handle machines and so on, and so I knew how to make stuff.
So you've been a hands-on guy.
Yeah. So I learned how to make stuff for the boats, and I realized that I think something's better got to be made here and so on. And I was also a lot into ice boating.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah, which is very high-speed sailing, you know.
I believe so. Right?
Yeah, and I kind of realized that the pulleys and stuff didn't react fast enough and in ice boat the loads get very high, so there's a lot of parts, maybe 10 to 1 and stuff. And if you go through normal blocks, normal pulleys with just a shaft in the center, the friction gets too much, and the lines and stuff don't react quick enough. So I decided we had to put bearings in there, make them quicker and faster. And the work I did with these medical biological machines, I ended up using for bearings and stuff these plastic balls, because I was developing machines that had to go in very high acidic environments. You couldn't use metal and have grease or anything like that, so it was plastic. And I sort of thought, maybe I should try those balls in a pulley and stuff. And to make this story short, it worked. They
obviously.
And more people wanted the blocks. I was just hand making them. And then in the 1968 Olympics, Lowell North with Peter Barrett in the Star Boat, I made the blocks for the U.S. team, and by hand, and in the Dragon class, they both got gold medals. And then the European guys came over and were looking at, you know,
Why did you do that?
what are these strange black blocks with these little white balls in them, you know, because they'd never seen it. And, you know, it started, people were asking more and more for them, and it just sort of developed, you know, one little step at a time. And you know, at that time we were mainly building the Olympic class boats, the 470, the Finn, the Flying Dutchman, the Optimus Pram, and stuff like that. That was our main building, and the hardware was secondary. But then the hardware, because of the demand, started overwhelming the boat business, and we decided we can't do both. It's too much, you know. So we sold the boat business to a firm out in Newport, Rhode Island that wanted it, and we concentrated on the hardware. And then that just started to develop it, you know, through the years. So there was no, you know, people ask me, how did you plan this? How did you do this? There was no plan, you know. You start with something and then you take a step here, step there, and you're just working every day and make little steps forward all the time. And it's just, you know, it evolved. It's sort of like evolution, you know. It's a slow process, and it evolved because we've been at it for 50 years, you know. So there was no real brains behind this thing. It was just grunt work, you know. Yeah.
And for you, sailing, especially now, do you still sail?
Yeah, but you know, I've been racing for 50 years, and now mainly in ice boating, because the ice boating passion really hit me.
Yeah, it stuck with you.
Yeah, and I really concentrated at it for about 35 years. In these very fast boats, building boats constantly, you know, and upgrading it. Jesus, it consumed an immense amount of time, and so on. And all of my buddies in it now are retired. Like Buddy Melgus, the famous sailor, and guys I worked with all the time. They all got too old and they retired. And I kind of lost my heart. And I'm old too. I mean, I'm 82 years old, and I can't run as fast to get the boat off the ground.
Yeah, because it's a running start.
Yeah, it is. It's a running start, and you're lifting all these planks and stuff like that. So I decided, you know, I gotta kind of do something different. I tried to go back to skiing. I used to do pretty good alpine skiing, and my wife is really good, you know, and she was a giant slalom skier, and then I busted my butt really good doing that. And so I thought, you know, now we got kind of go more cruising, sailing, and discovering new places and so on. And I sail with our clients, you know, on the big boat. I'll get on the big boat and go sailing with it. I don't think I'm a real addition to what it is, but, you know, I maybe look after the gear and the stuff like that. So
it's a big part.
Yeah, it's right. Like after here, I'm going to go to Porto Cervo for the Maxi, which we do every year, and we're very heavily involved in the America's Cup, the new America's Cup boats. That's all very highly specialized gear. The gear we're making for them it's really pretty complicated stuff. A lot of hydraulics, specialized cylinders, and hydraulic pumps and stuff. Pretty wild stuff. But I think, you know, if I was going to make any guesses, like maybe who's going to win the America's Cup or not, I think the boat that maybe is the lightest or can stay on its foils the longest in light winds. To be able to attack in light winds and stay on the foot. That boat's, I believe, going to win. Yeah, because that's the whole game. When a boat drops down on its foils, and there's another one that is still up, there's no question about it. So I think that's going to be the big trick. And these boats are pretty difficult, because when they get down, sit on their hulls, and there's no wind they're really unstable.
Yeah.
There's no keel to keep them
it.
up, or anything. And those foils certainly don't keep them up. So, yeah, it's gonna be very interesting.
And if we go back to sailing, and in your opinion, what is the future of sailing for an average Joe guy, not for the Volvo and the America's Cup guys?
I think this regatta is exactly the example of how to keep sailing strong. I think you've got to make it fun for the Joe Blow guy, the guy who's not going to be in first place or third, not going to get a trophy or this, but he wants to attend and he wants to be involved. And you have to make it fun for him and his family. They enjoy coming. And I think what you guys have done here, and with that band, and this dinner tonight, and getting everybody together right at the opening, instead of waiting until at the end, which is so common. Many regattas, the opening is just a drink. People, how do you do? And they go away. And then nothing really goes on during the week, really, maybe once. And then at the end they have the awards ceremony. I think that's too late. I think what Nietzsche and you guys have done here is you got the crowd really enthused and excited right away with this band. Boom, right? The regattas, everybody's pumped up and going. So, I think you've got to bring the fun thing into it, and especially with the kids. At the optimist level and everything, they got to make it fun if they're going to remain in it, because if you just make it hardcore sailing, they're going to get out and go find something else, because not everybody is a gold medal or a silver medalist, or has that type of. The kids today have so many other things to do, baseball, soccer, things like that, They don't want to be stuck in just one thing. And they don't want to go out all weekend on the boat, all weekend, and have their whole weekend taken up. We're discovering that in the U.S. The Wednesday night, what we call beer can racing.
Beer can races, yeah.
That's taking over, because the whole family does not want to spend all day long, Saturday and Sunday, going out for an hour to the race course, coming back, and the whole thing, all day long. So,
just how
the fun. I think you got to put the fun factor into it. It's a really important thing. And I think what you guys did tonight, that's it. That should be it. Do it like that.
I hope you enjoyed it.
And, I did. Yeah, it was great. Really good. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's really nice having you here, and it was really nice sharing a glass of wine with you.
So. Yeah. Skål.
So, skål.
I have one question.
Huh?
I have one question, if it's okay.
Yeah.
As I'm not a sailor, I'm a film director, and it's my passion, films. What brings your passion at sailing? Like, if you can put it in one sentence, what's the passion of sailing about?
I think it's the whole sport with the nature and the water. It's a sailboat motion through the water is like no other boat can have that, and that you with the sails really have command of this thing. You can guide this magnificent, beautiful machine through the water, in a very pleasant way. and you can do it with somebody, and it's not, you know, it's not like a hardcore thing doing. It's just very relaxing in a lot of ways. And I don't know. It's just a good. It's a, you know, it's really a good feeling.
It's quite similar for me.
It's hard
to explain.
Hard to really describe it. You got to do it to get that feeling. You can't tell a person that feeling if he's never done it. Just got to get him on the boat, have him grab the tiller and kind of control the sails, and all of a sudden he feels command of this thing and feels the motion of the boat, and it's a, you know, it's an internal feeling that really feels pretty good. Yeah. And in the ice boating, well, that's a whole different feeling. That's a high adrenaline.
That's a rush.
Feeling, a real rush, and yet it involves the wind and the sailing. And it really grabbed me when I got it. Too much. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So
it becomes addictive, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Very addictive. Jeez.
To try that once.
you got to do it. It's very hard to explain it. you got to get in the boat and actually do it. Yeah.
Cheers.
Well, made enough noise.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, you too. Yeah.